Okay, Neeraj Chopra. I still call him the golden boy, even though he's got a silver here, because in our history, we've only got that one track and field gold, which Neeraj has given us. With me are two people who work very closely with him. Manisha Malhotra, Head of Sports Excellence at JSW Sport, and of course Parth Jindal, the founder of JSW Sport. And not just Neeraj, they support a host of other athletes that were participating at the Olympic Games. I'll start with you, Parth, on this one. Neeraj, how is he feeling at the moment? The thing is, expectations are so high, we tend to forget that we barely get any medals and we got one silver. But how's Neeraj feeling at the moment?
I think Neeraj is very disappointed and a bit devastated because he was not very happy with the way he threw yesterday. I think he's more all about process, and he's all about how he feels when he throws. I don't think the result itself is what is bothering him. I think it's the fact that he was not in his best rhythm. And I feel that because when he came up, when I was in the crowd yesterday, when he came up to me, I screamed out for him, and he came up and I said, शाबाश नीरज, बहुत अच्छा किया है. He said, भैया बहुत काम बाकी है, बहुत काम करना है और आज लगी नहीं. तो I said, नहीं बहुत अच्छा किया. He said, नहीं भैया लगी नहीं आज. So he even though he won a silver, he was not very happy. That says something about his mindset, and it's no doubt in my mind that it's this mindset of his that makes him a champion.
All right, very interesting. Manisha, those, as he talks about that, Neeraj also, I spoke to him, he said that rhythm wasn't there. Those foul throws, barring the one that he got, were they an indication that today or yesterday his rhythm wasn't quite there, or was that part of a larger strategy?
No, I mean, I think that after the second throw being a 92.97 in the second round, it changes the whole perspective. And the Klaus told me that he's never seen Neeraj fight the way he fought yesterday, and it was sheer experience and literally grit to pull out that 89. Because what happened after that is that he just started forcing throws. And so if you see, Neeraj never usually gets those belly ups. And that is, from the first throw, I don't know, you were not near me, but from the first throw it didn't look so good because I knew he couldn't control the release angle was not his normal release angle, and then when you add this whole 92.97 element to it, it just becomes a big fight and a force. And at that point, there's a lot of things going through an athlete's mind, and of course for Neeraj, there was no doubt that he didn't think that he could do it. So that was not the problem. But then you're really kind of forcing that, and it never comes when you force it. And if you saw the way Nadeem threw, it was literally like effortless. And it was similar to Neeraj's qualification throw, which he was not expecting an 89 and not going for an 89. But that's what it is. And to be able to have that effortlessness in a time of ultimate pressure, that's like that elusive thing, and it comes and it goes, and it's amazing, but it's magic.
Yeah, it is. It was magical, actually, the entire competition. But you're talking about his resolve. In the interview, he mentions that as soon as Nadeem threw that 92.97, he said there were murmurs within the athletes. The gold is done. He said, I was the only one who said no. It's not done. I'm not giving up. I'm going for it. I've not done 90, but I'm going for it. Okay, on the larger thing, since we spoke to him last evening, he mentioned that about 40% of his focus is also on that groin injury. He doesn't want to aggravate it, so he wants to be completely free of that. And he thought that maybe because that was too early right after the competition, but going forward, he wanted to think about what needs to be done as a long-term solution. Have you guys thought about it? And because you're going to be his backroom staff, any thoughts about that? What should be the future?
I think Manisha can.
Yeah, well, lots of thoughts, because there's a lot going to change for Neeraj right now. Obviously, surgery was the only thing that's going to fix that issue. And it's not a groin. The pain remanates into the groin, but it's a hernia issue. And it's not a major surgery. It's literally like a separation that needs to be stitched together. It was an option on the cards last year, which he didn't want to take a chance before the Olympics. So he said, I'll manage till then. And so that option is definitely on the cards now. There are 3 doctors who are world experts in this. One in Paris who works with PSG, one in Munich who works with Bayern Munich actually, and one out of Dubai. And again, a very FIFA accredited doctor, so very good doctors. We're going to now consult those and see which he feels most comfortable with. It's also an interesting perspective to understand that Klaus is no longer going to be traveling with him full time.
Oh, that's interesting. So why is that so?
So Klaus, is 75, and Klaus is going to now it's not announced, and he's not announced a retirement. He's not retiring, but he's not going to be with him week in and week out for 8 months.
Are you looking at somebody else then?
No, I think that's a discussion now with Neeraj, and I think that so there are several things for Neeraj that are on the cards, and then there's several options where we have to start talking about it. One thing that is for sure is that there needs to be a lot of work done on his technique, because technique is breaking down, and that could be he hasn't competed much this season.
Yes.
You know, he's always protecting the groin. It's always in the back of your mind. So these are all, I mean, it's going to be a period of introspection and discussion, and you know, of course everybody's going to have certain thoughts on it, but Neeraj himself needs to kind of figure out how to go forward on it. But
Okay.
the first order of business is going to be the groin.
Right, but to you, it's not just javelin. You support a lot of athletes. What did you make of the games as a whole? And I'll quote Prakash Padukone, because we spoke to him. He said, "Listen, now during our times we could complain about no facilities and so on and so forth. Now everything is available. You guys yourself have an outstanding facility in Karnataka. So in that sense, what have you made of the overall performance of the Indian contingent?"
Yeah, I think if you look at it, I think the mindset of our country has also changed. We are at 5 medals as of today. We hope Aman gets us a medal tonight, and we hope that Ritika Hooda gets us a medal as well. So we might end up with 7 medals. Maybe some miracle happens in women's golf.
There's Vinesh also. The case is still on.
Vinesh's case is still on, of course. I hope so. So we may end up with 7 to 8 to 9 medals, and we've had, I don't know how many, but maybe 8 fourth places, including shooting, including the 2 boxing bouts, including archery. We've had a lot of near misses. The contingent, I mean, has been very well prepared by the government, by private sector. There's been a very coordinated effort. What I feel is that as a country we expected more. I as an individual expected more. My interviews from before the Olympics, I said that India should win 10 to 12 medals. Having said all of this, I think that what bothers me is the number of athletes who have come here, including the athletes that we represent and we support, who have not done their season's best or personal best at the Olympic Games. That to me is unacceptable. That is a failure on all our parts. It's a collective failure of the coaches, of the athletes, of the private sector, of the government, because it is unacceptable for athletes to come here and not do their season's best and personal best. And I don't think, I can't name a single one that has done its personal best. Not Avinash Sable, not Parul Chaudhary, not our 4x400 relay team, women's or men's. Not our long jumper, not our triple jumper. So for me, these things are not acceptable. I think there was also sports science needs to be more looked into more closely. Whether it is in wrestling, Antim was a pale shadow of herself, and I think that was because of weight management issues. I think she had to struggle to get to her weight. That's my belief. We all know the story of Vinesh, because wrestling, other than the Olympic Games, it finishes in one day. So an athlete is able to dehydrate their body for that one day. Then when they rehydrate and then again they want to dehydrate, they may not have enough time unless it's a practice science, unless they've done it multiple times over. So I don't know what went wrong with Antim, or I don't know what went wrong with the Vinesh, but this is my theory that this was not done or practiced enough by the athlete and by the support staff. So overall, although this possibly could be our joint best Olympic tally, this is definitely already our 3rd best Olympic tally. It might be, I'm very confident it will be our joint 2nd best tally, because I'm pretty sure Aman is going to do something today. But the expectations of our country has changed. What Prakash sir said, I really respect. He's a legend of the game. It is true that India now, money is no longer a concern. Athletes are getting supported like they never have been supported. But it is only a handful of the athletes that are getting supported. I think instead of only focusing on the creme de la creme of Indian sport, I think now the onus is on all of us to make the pyramid bigger, to make the base of the pyramid bigger, to invest more money into the grassroots, to invest more money into creating hundreds and hundreds of athletes. A nation of 1.5, 1.6 billion people cannot have only 117 people competing at the Olympic Games when contingents from the US are 600, contingents from Japan are 400 plus, contingents from China are 350 plus. How can 117 be enough? So, a lot of work to do. Overall, you can see I'm very passionate, very disappointed. But if I look at the medals we got, if I look at the 4th places we got, we've never been so close to a double-digit tally. So there is a silver lining. I think we are on the right track. I think we need to increase our focus on more sports. We can't just focus on 7-8 sports because we are a nation of 1.5 billion. We have a lot of talent in every sport. We need to hone them.
Yeah, I think that's brilliantly summed up. I don't need to, I was thinking of asking more questions, but I think you summed it up really well. And I often tell our viewers as well, everyone who complains, because I meet a lot of journalists asking, country of 1.4 billion people. I think the problem lies with us because there's no sporting culture. We wouldn't ever push our kids to be playing sport after, they reach the age of 10, 12. We want them to study. Whereas I was talking to a lot of American athletes, they say that till 20, they just give everything to sport and then look at what.
I've seen the culture in Europe and in the US. I've also lived in Japan. Sport is part of their daily life.
Right.
The weekend rotates around your children's sporting activity. Your friends rotate around, Sunday my kid has a football game or my kid has this sport or running in this track. Let's meet after that. I'm going to pick them up, I'm going to drop them. Oh, we won, we lost. It's every single week, every single day. In India, it's not like that. It's only those athletes or those kids who take up sports seriously where the parents get invested. Schools don't push it enough. We don't have anything like the NCAA, which is there in the US. All these things are needed. We need sport to become a viable career. And it might already have become a viable career. We need it to become a lifestyle.
Yeah.
So, a lot of work to be done, but it's starting. There is a lot of progress, there is a lot of focus, the government is as invested in it. Everyone wants India to do well and no one wants it more than Indians themselves and the government themselves. So I'm sure a lot of good is going to come out of this Olympics and I'm hopeful.
All right, Parth Jindal, Manish Malhotra, thank you so much for taking our time and speaking to us on India Today. Thank you.